land of the Métis. We extend our gratitude to those who came before us and have called this ancestral land home for generations. We respect and honor the treaties, reaffirm our relationships with one another, and move forward together in the spirit of truth, reconciliation, and collaboration. We call to order at 7 p.m. And just before we get to the approval of the agenda, as many of you may have noticed, on June 6th was the 80th anniversary of D-Day. So I would like to take a brief moment of silence in commemoration of that. Thank you. So, the agenda for the June 10th, 2024 meeting be approved as amended or presented and attached to form part of the said minutes. Everybody's had a chance to review the agenda. Were there any changes required? Everything looks good. All those in favor? Declaration of conflict of interest. Do you have anything to declare tonight? All right, moving on. That the minutes of the May 27th, 2024 regular meeting of council be approved as presented. Good. Does anybody see any issues with the minutes at all? All those in favor? Okay. That the financial reports for June 10th, 2024 be received as presented. Anybody have any questions or comments on the financial reports at all? Okay. All those in favor? Carried. The reports of senior administrative officials recorded as items 9.1 to 9.2.6 be received and filed. Okay. All those in favor? That the CAO monthly report be received and filed. Michelle?
Sure, I'll just give a few highlights here. I attended the Urban Municipal Administrators Association annual convention. It was very informative, and I got a lot of information from it. And I also did a procurement workshop that was in conjunction with that. We revised the quarterly airport advisory committee meetings that we haven't had since 2019. And the stakeholders were very happy to come to the meetings. That was good. We initiated the quarterly landfill advisory committee that were a part of the Ottawa purchase agreement that were required. And we have spent, mostly Maria, but we've spent a lot of time working on the tax rates and working on researching anything that we could possibly do for condo owners within the Municipalities Act. So we've done a lot of research, and we found that we don't have any tools to help the condo owners. That's just kind of, if anybody has any questions. Oh, I have here the server migration is approximately 35% complete. They told us today we're at 55% complete and still on target.
So my question was with server migration, when do you think that will be done?
They told us we're on target for at least for the end of June for sure, if not sooner.
Oh, just in regards, I was the one asking all the million questions in regards to condos and taxes and all that stuff, right? And, yeah, it turns out a lot of the information that people were feeding me was coming from the cities. The cities have the ability to make subclasses underneath residential, multiple unit residential, things like that. Towns do not have that ability. And so we are stuck with the residential, commercial, and agriculture. So we don't actually have a tax tool to be able to change any of that. So it's kind of reiterating, but going another step, I found that was really interesting. And the fact that they assessed our condos based on what was in Warman.
See,
That's where it's wrong.
that's where it's very wrong. That was my next question, is how they came up with that, because it's not really good.
It's a city, and they have tax tools. We don't have, we can't access. It's just one of those things. Right?
And that's good questions to ask Sama and they have their regulations that they're legislated to follow, so it's good information to ask them, point us in the direction that gives them that direction or that guidance.
And we could write a letter saying that we would, because the reassessment year is next year, to be able to request that they reassess our condos using more like-minded places, like towns, villages, or people who don't, not in cities.
Great.
I think we-
We'll continue to do a little more.
Thanks for all your work on it. I appreciate it. I know it was a lot.
I think Councillor Stewart knows more about the Municipalities Act than the Cities Act than he does.
I tell you, reading that thing, that's hard in the head, but yeah, we went through it, everything we can. There's references in other places, we go back. Thank you again.
Michelle, do we have any other questions or comments for Michelle? Okay, all those in favor? That the Leisure Services Department monthly report be received and filed.
Hello. So we have had a busy month. The pool is open and not busy because it doesn't stop raining and it is cold out. But we did have a really big lesson registration and private rental booking couple of days. So most of our private rentals are full. We have a couple left remaining, more towards the end of the year. And the color run went well. They had actually more than 80 participants. They had about 95 in the end. So they put that money back towards this year. I think it's going to save for East Pleasant View Park still. So they are fundraising for that park and the equipment there. We have begun rebuilding dugouts that were lost in the July 1st storm. So the crew's been busy doing that, battling the rain. But one pad is poured and they are prepping the other two pads to be poured. Shale is actually arriving tomorrow, I just found out. And we are rebuilding and repairing some of our disc golf course that was taken out by the storm last year. And then some of them get moved quite a bit during the fair. So they're tucked and we've moved them back so that it's more of a course again. Because it's not. And then one other update that's not on here, we received the Evergreen feasibility study late on Friday. So it's a complete document. So I will put together a report for council and then email it out to everybody once I get that done. So you should see that hopefully in the next little bit, but finally got the report. So yeah.
Thank you very much. Do you have any questions, Sheldon?
I guess regarding that report, can we get a copy of the report too?
Oh, you bet.
Just to look
Yeah.
at?
Yeah, no, I plan to send that
We
too.
could put it on, I guess, in our agenda, or what, not the agenda, but on our Unisoft.
In our
So,
documents.
no, not Unisoft.
Does it matter how big?
Yeah.
Does it matter how big? It can go in there probably, hey? Yeah. Yeah, no, I plan to submit all of that to you. So the report I received is 124 pages, so have fun.
It's easy reading.
It's nice, easy reading, yeah. But yes, no, that'll all be provided. Yeah. And if AllNet works best, then we'll do it on AllNet.
Yep,
Yeah.
open to that.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Any other questions or comments for Chelsea? All right, all those in favor? That the Operations and Engineering Services Department monthly report to be received and filed. Jamie?
So, I've been pretty busy the last couple months with tenders and so on, so, it sounds like I was talking with Pinter, late last week, and they would like to have the tender out for the landfill decommissioning by this Friday. So that's good news, we're finally getting, moving on that. And really, there's this waterworks compliance inspection. We got that done with Water Security Agency. That went really, really well. That's attached here. We received a new Environment Protection Officer in EPO. I'm just getting to know her a little bit. So she seems very, very by the book. So we're just kind of going back and forth, trying to figure each other out a bit. So that too, and that's also added here. But all in all, just trying to keep moving forward.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions or comments for Jamie? Okay, all those in favor? The Fire Department monthly report to be received and filed. Paul is not here for this report. Has everybody had a chance to read through it? Any questions that we could forward to him after the meeting? The only concern I have is always. Kelvin?
I only had one comment is, just looking at the comparisons to towns, we're still winning the alarms calls. Why?
Okay,
As for the biohazard, we just reached out to Northeast Alliance, and they're working together to try and mitigate that.
One individual, you know.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
all right. All those in favor? Carried. The Protective Services Department monthly report to be received and filed. We got a chance to read through this report. Pretty straightforward. Any questions or comments to send on after the meeting? Okay, all those in favor? Okay, the council hereby approves the mill rate of 7.5245 mils for the 2024 property tax year. And, Maria, did you want to speak to this a little bit?
Sure, I can. So I guess, standard procedure for this time of year, just setting the tax rate to meet the required revenue for tax levy. And, after the committee meeting, governance committee meeting the other day, this is kind of in line with what we discussed.
Thank you so much for all the hard work getting us here. Anybody else have any questions or comments? Yeah.
Just in regards to it, it's nice that it came to governance, right? But in reality, this probably should be a special meeting. We do that for all council, right? Not with council, not with today. Like usually we use it in the past of a special meeting. Then it came to there because all the questions I had in regards to condos and all that stuff. Yeah. For next year. Just okay with this. I wanted me to bring that up.
Okay.
No particular information.
All right. All those in favor? That's carried. The council approves a 5-year contract with Sending Technology Solutions for the Pitney Bowes Send Pro C auto mailing system as recommended by the GM of Corporate Services. Maria, I guess, is there anything?
Nothing really important. I think it's pretty much speaks to it in the proposal here. It's just a contract that runs over 5 years, so it needs to be brought to council. I do believe that we have had Pitney Bowes equipment in the past. Everybody seems to be happy with it. They have good servicing and good product.
From my body language there, you'll see that we had, I remember us having significant trouble with that or whatever, in the past. You can remember that, and I've known of other businesses that also have trouble with that.
Honestly, I don't remember trouble. Maybe it was the folding machine that we had. It would have been the folding machine that we had issues with, the postage machine. Yeah, the postage machine, I don't recall issues with it from Pitney Bowes, but the folding machine, yes, we did.
That's what I'm thinking.
Folding machine, we had issues over the years with those.
Jeff, were you just gonna confirm that?
Yeah.
I see you're nodding your head, so.
Yeah, I remember, the folding machine that we had from this company was not so good, but we've switched that, but I haven't heard anything from the office staff about the mail machine.
Any questions or comments?
And if I can just add, I guess the reason why I really chose this machine is simply because their servicing is included in their thing. So there is no additional charge for servicing. It is all inclusive.
That can be. All right, if there's no other questions, all those in favor? Okay. Council of the Town of Mifflin agrees not to classify the ambulance station development at 111 Mifflin Road East as a post-disaster building as recommended by the land plan. Jeff, did you want to give us some background on this?
Sure. So the ambulance station is wanting to expand, and so they sent in an application to Municode, and there's a part of the National Building Code that specifically allows a building such as this to either be classified as post-disaster or not be classified as post-disaster from the municipality's perspective. And we spoke to the owner. He doesn't want to classify it as post-disaster, given that there's a lot of extra costs associated with it. Like they'll factor in like earthquake proofing, snow load, wind load, lots of things. And it's already a commercial style building, so it is built up a little bit beefier than just residential construction, but the post-disaster would make it a lot more. And we believe that the existing ambulance station is already built to this post-disaster classification, so we don't really need, well, the opinion is that we don't need another one that's also classified as that, since this is extra, so we recommended to not designate this one as post-disaster.
Do you have any questions at all on this? So some of the criteria that they had when you were talking about earthquake and storm, isn't that go by region? Or all of
It's
those
not,
categories into everything?
yeah, it's not clear in the code. It just says, I guess I'm not familiar enough with the code to know. So I don't know if it's by region or if it's by just all of Canada. I'm not too sure.
Are you concerned with any precedents being set here? Owners saying we don't want this and we don't want that just because of cost and the building not being up to spec?
Right. I guess the code only allows it for like, and Gavin looked into this as well too. I believe it was only a couple buildings like RCMP stations, ambulances that we were even allowed to say it's not like going to be classified as post-disaster. So it was very minor in scope as to what we could allow to be not classified as this.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, okay. Okay. I guess since this build like that there already is ambulance station and like that it is built to a commercial construction standard, I guess you're looking at the risks of, you know, earthquakes and that kind of thing. And I don't know, I guess the buildings that we do have that are built to even the commercial standards, we haven't had any issues with snow loads or things like that. And I guess it would be up to a council decision if we want to go extra secure. I mean, it is an ambulance station, so I mean, there is that argument for sure. The owner just did specify that it adds a lot of extra cost.
Any other questions? All those in favor? Council of the Town of Mifflin hereby agrees to assign the price of $44,000 to subject property 1, comprised of the properties located at 200, 202, 204, 206, and 208 Evergreen Drive, and $25,000 to subject property 2, comprised of the properties located at 112 and 118 Evergreen Drive, on Evergreen Drive and Pine Avenue as presented by Precision Appraisal Services, Inc.
So with the approval of the works that we're doing in the area, I know, I mean, the works aren't scheduled yet, but I wanted to get it into the appraiser. That way we could start advertising the lots, or Derek would be able to put together some kind of information package. So I had the lots appraised as if they were serviced. And so these are the two prices that came back from the land appraiser for the lots. So the intent with this was to have council approve the pricing, and then they could be advertised as such.
Any questions?
I guess I got two questions, but I'll go with the first one first here, and maybe if I got a follow-up right after. Thank you. So is this zone commercial or is this zone residential?
It's zoned community service.
Sorry?
Community service is what it's zoned as.
So
That allows for multi-unit residential, so condos and apartments would be allowed in there. It does allow for some business like the hotel. It's pretty limited for other commercial styles. I'd have to look and see what else it all allows. It's mainly community service uses, so like ambulance station, fire hall, stuff like that. But then over the years, we've added multi-unit residential, hotels, and I can't think of what else is all in there.
then my follow-up question is, when events are happening at the Evergreen Center and well attended, that street becomes very congested. To the point, I think we almost have to do something with traffic, but if we take that parking away, then that's just a concern.
Right.
Questions?
I have two. One, the parking concern. Second one was very little on that red one. We don't know the bushes too, or is that owned by somebody else?
A small section of the bushes is owned by the person who owns the building and lot just south. The bulk of them are owned by the town. And that's part of, the 3 lots. There's a hill going up to them and then bushes on top of the hill. I guess the way it was priced is that it would all 3 lots would be sold. The hill, the bushes, all 3 of those, yeah.
Weddings sometimes too. You'll have the fishing tournaments and the boats and stuff will park in there. And then the semis that aren't allowed to park in there will park in there. Yeah. But I love it there, so that's good. So at certain times of the year it definitely gets full and does present a bit of a concern if it is sold. I don't know what outweighs the other, I guess, if you get a good attractive place there. And potentially if your yellow one was sold, maybe the red one could turn into parking a bit.
Yeah.
Maybe. Or we don't own this over here, do we? Or that land we don't own, we can just tell people to park on it. Darn.
Who does own that land?
That land is here.
Across the street,
Across from the red one?
Yeah.
Cumberland House?
no, it's not Cumberland.
Sturgeon Lake.
Sturgeon Lake.
Sturgeon Lake.
Sturgeon Lake. Oh, I didn't realize it went that far down.
Yeah.
Piece of land.
Do you have any more questions? Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? The Council of the Town of Nephilim hereby authorizes Mayor Marlon Zacharias and CAO Michelle Sorensen to sign the plan of proposed subdivision from Meridian Surveys dated June 5th, 2024, to the propose of subdividing 30 feet from the bulk water station property as recommended by the land planner. Anything new to add here?
Not a whole lot new. So this is the subdivision that we looked at previously to sell a section of the bulk water station. So Meridian Surveys, they were a couple weeks behind, almost a month or 2 behind, but they finally got a plan of proposed subdivision made. And so then in order to send it off to community planning, we need the CAO and the mayor to sign it. And so I was just looking for council authorization to sign the plan of proposed subdivision, and then we can send it off to community planning.
Do you have any questions or comments?
So, it says in budget and financial, cost of subdividing quoted at $5,640, and then another legal was proposed at 400. So we're at 640, and we're gonna sell it for 7.
Plus the cost of the subdivision,
So they're paying some of that cost, or they're paying it
all of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
perfect, okay. That's
Yeah.
what I needed, right?
Yeah, so we're gonna sell the land for 7, and then they'll pay the full cost of subdivision.
That's sold as a service lot then?
No. Yeah, because the bulk water station has the services, and then the other, like the property they already own has services, so it's just just extra land.
Any more questions? All those in favor? The council hereby approves the Targeted Sector Support Initiative cost share grant application for funding under the capital building stream for the George Cup Governance Workshop being held in November 2024. Michelle.
All right, so while I was at the UMass convention, I became aware of this TSS funding stream that is available. And it is a project you have to do in cooperation with another municipality. And both the Resort Village Lake and the RM of Newfoundland agreed to support the application. And the governance workshop fits right under the capacity building stream, which one of the items as an example is governance training. And council had approved funding the project or the workshop, and then it would be cost shared amongst all of the participants that are coming. But this, if we get the funding, which will be up to 75%, then that will just help everybody who comes, and every municipality can share in the cost savings.
Thank you, Michelle. Free money's good money. Do you have any questions or comments? All those in favor? Okay, that the reports of standing and special committees recorded as items 10.1 to 10.1.3 be received and filed. All those in favor? That the town of Nipwood provide a letter to the RM of Nipwood in support of more enforcement on 10th Street North in the Clemmer subdivision as recommended by the Governance Standing Committee at the meeting held June 3rd, 2024. And that the town of Nipwood support road widening along 10th Street North as a future project. Councilor Stewart. Any questions or comments on this recommendation?
I could just add that this was, we had a gentleman come a couple of meetings ago to council as a delegation requesting that council support a reduction in the speed limit. And then the governance committee discussed it and recommend that we support additional enforcement rather than a reduction in speed, as our staff had gone and done a survey of our residents along that strip, and it was more that enforcement seemed to be more of a concern than the actions.
Any questions or comments then? All those in favor? Whereas the town of Nipwood considers pedestrian safety a priority along Railway Avenue, and having considered the options presented, council hereby resolves that the town of Nipwood deny the request for a speed limit reduction on Railway Avenue West, as recommended by the Governance Standing Committee at the meeting held June 3rd, 2024, and that the town of Nipwood introduce a sidewalk on the boulevard at the corner of Railway Avenue West and 6th Street West, with line painting to mark a pedestrian crossing on 6th Street West. Do you have any questions on this one? Michelle, you have a little bit of...
Gentlemen, which one, just speak to it briefly?
Sure. So we looked at the area, and the parking lot for that facility is quite large, and they had cited that there's people getting in and out of vehicles and also walking in the area. And so I noticed that there isn't a sidewalk actually connecting that building to the rest of the sidewalk network that exists on Railway. So that's where the sidewalk came from. And then, given the size of the parking lot, I feel like there's enough room for vehicles and people to get in and out of vehicles. So I don't think it warrants a speed reduction on that section of Railway. And also, it is the truck route. That's kind of the given path for the trucks. And we were looking, trucks could speed up to 50 kilometers an hour from that corner because they have to stop right at the old fire hall intersection, then turn. I mean, they can get up to speed, but I don't know how crazy fast that they would be going. So we just didn't feel that it was necessary to do the speed limit reduction. The other option I had as a recommendation is to go out and collect data, similar as to how we did for the parking at 200 block of Railway.
I see, I travel on that road quite often and there's lots of parking, sometimes, like you say, there's lots of parking. I'm not sure if it's overflow parking for them on the opposite side that they use, or is that, do they own the property, that is kind of north of, Sixth Street, that empty lot? Is that theirs also?
It used to be at one time, and then I don't think they own it anymore. I think it was sold.
So I don't know if they resort to overflow parking in the rear, but would it be also a sidewalk on that same property or on the boulevard, east, be beneficial also?
It may be. I didn't quite get the time to do it. I was gonna speak to the owner of Handiworks or the group and see what their concerns were with people walking and where people were walking. That hadn't been done. I think that given like the 6th Street West is a very quiet road. So given that other spots in the community don't have a sidewalk, and that 6th Street is such a quiet road that walking on the side is less dangerous on that street than in other streets, especially compared to the truck route. So for the expense of the sidewalk on that road, and I don't know how much it's used, that's why I didn't recommend one at this point, but it is something that could be looked at.
Yeah, it's kind of the opposite of what was, chamber wanted before, because there's actually stop signs and stuff there. This is more speed is sometimes just overcome or people speeding and things that way. And yeah, I would be determined if that's more so than the chamber.
Yeah.
Do you have any other questions or comments and concerns?
Just here, we looked at that and we discussed it, but there is a lot of parking in the front and back of that building, and there is also parking along 6th Street, where they could be parking instead of going across the road. So there is a lot of, I think you told me it was 1 by 60. You mentioned, right? So, yeah, that just might be a little bit of a education for their people just to not park across the road, and to use the parking that's available front, back, and side. When you look at the picture, you can see one car over there, you can put 30 cars in there relatively easily, so one problem, I would have more issue with them backing out to the road than actually walking across. So we've got that problem all over.
Thank you, Jeff. Do you have any more questions or comments? Okay. All those in favor?
know I just voted on that, but are you gonna do some consulting with them too and find out what's the best proposal?
Yeah, I can definitely touch base with them and see, yeah, what their concerns were. I'm guessing it is just the parking, but I just talk with them and see what their operations are and what's going on. And also to see if the sidewalk proposed there would be of benefit to them or if they're thinking of something else. I'm not too sure yet, but I'm guessing having the sidewalk hooked up into their facility, because in their letter they mentioned a lot of people walking to the building, and I thought that would help with that. So
I think it was
yeah. Right.
Okay, the council hereby approves the amended law consolidation policy number 1.1.13 as recommended by the government standing committee at the meeting on June 3rd, 2024.
I mean, that's never made and that was accepted down. And part of it was one of the changes to where we had concern at the last meeting to if it was a house that was dilapidated, beautification of the town, and we want to encourage that kind of thing. That we have that council consider approving the request to consolidate on a case by case basis for the properties. And then that will give council the ability to review each case independently, and it would be for those properties that have owners on them. It wouldn't just be if somebody purchased a lot and then the house looks terrible. There's criteria. And then Jeff,
The other one that we just added at the end was just a process post approval. Just ISC changed their practices and wants a letter addressed specifically to ISC from the town. So we just made a little bit of a clause in the post process approval change. The other things though in the actual policy would be just the lots that are in, where is it here? The lots that are smaller than what the zoning bylaw allows. That was the other condition that we put in. And so if there's a really small lot that you can't even do anything with, basically it's just to clean up land titles. We already would allow a consolidation like that, so it's just putting it in the policy.
Thank you, guys.
property owner is solely responsible for all costs associated with title consolidation. Does that include surveying?
Generally they don't need to be surveyed when doing consolidation, because they just do it off of the line work that already exists. Yeah. So. Yeah. Yes. Right.
I know this is a new policy in document, so maybe down the road, I'm not sure if there's going to be anything we can change that, so we can do this in a certain area, or
right.
Discussion on whatever,
yeah.
Kind of ugly this with the garage, their wall facing, I don't want to Main Street. I don't know.
Right.
Go with that.
Yeah.
No? You have any other questions or comments? Okay. All those in favor? The reports of committees and boards reported as item 11.1 be received in file. Favor? That the communications reported as item 12.1 be received and filed. All those in favor? That bylaw number 1176/24 being a bylaw to provide for entering into a residential tax exemption agreement for the purposes of economic development be introduced and read a first time. Had a chance to read it. Do you have anything to add?
I can just speak that we have residential and commercial, we have a number of tax incentive policies. And this is just in order for us to be able to, this is just the next step in the incentive policy. It must be done by bylaw and put, and we do this annually with all of the residential and commercial.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor? That bylaw number 1176/24 be read a second time. Open. Opportunity for questions or comments. All those in favor? That bylaw number 1176/24 be given 3 readings at this meeting. All those in favor? That bylaw number 1176/24 being a bylaw to or entering into a residential tax exemption agreement for the purposes of economic development be read a third time and finally adopted. Last chance, any questions or comments? All those in favor? That bylaw number 1177/24 being a bylaw to provide for entering into a commercial tax exemption agreement for the purposes of economic development be introduced and read a first time. Basically the same. Do you have anything separate to add, Michelle?
No, it's the same as the previous one, only this is for commercial properties.
Do you have any questions or comments? All those in favor? That bylaw number 1177/24 be read a second time. Questions, comments? All those in favor? That bylaw number 1177/24 be given 3 readings at this meeting. All those in favor?
I got a question, sorry. The co-op. And the commercial properties, what piece of property is this? Is it part B plan?
That is the Tim Hortons renovation. It's actually on the same, like,
Renovation?
yeah, so it's on the same property as the co-op, so it's lumped in with the co-op taxes.
I thought I knew, I thought that one might have been the liquor store.
Yeah.
Okay. All those in favor? That bylaw number 1177/24, being a bylaw to or entering into a commercial tax exemption agreement for the purposes of economic development, be read a third time and finally adopted. Last questions or comments? All those in favor? Okay, that bylaw number 1178/24, being a bylaw to provide for the establishment of mill rate factors to be applied on certain assessments, be introduced and read a first time. This is fairly straightforward. Do you have any questions or comments?
The only comment I can, the change that was recommended after discussions at the government standing committee was to increase the agricultural mill rate factor to 0.92 from 0.76. The rest are all still recommended.
Do you have any questions or comments? Okay. All those in favor? That bylaw number 1178/24 be read a second time. Questions or comments a second time? All those in favor? That bylaw number 1178/24 be given 3 readings at this meeting. Second. All those in favor? That bylaw number 1178/24, being a bylaw to provide for the establishment of mill rate factors to be applied on certain assessments, be read a third time and finally adopted. Any last questions or comments? All those in favor? Keep going. That bylaw number 1179/24, being a bylaw to provide for the establishment of base tax, be introduced and read a first time.
Sure, the only change recommended on this, again, after discussion at the government standing committee, was to change the commercial and industrial land, base tax on the land portion from $13.50 up to $17.50, and then on the improvements to reduce that from $4.50 down to $50. And that change was recommended to encourage development on properties that are vacant in town right now. That won't affect the smaller businesses downtown. It's just to encourage development on the vacant land. That was the only change recommended by the committee.
Okay. Do you have any questions or comments? Okay. All those in favor? That bylaw number 1179/24 be read a second time. Any questions or comments a second time?
Yeah. Elevators and railways, we didn't go over. I see that their base tax is still at $13.50. That'd be.
Because they don't have vacant lands. That the committee had talked about was for vacant commercial and industrial. They elevators still have, they have, no,
We don't know, yeah, I think so. Forgot what we got.
no, no, but it's,
It's not gonna matter,
yeah, it's,
unless they don't own one. All that railway.
Jeff, any other questions or comments a second time? All those in favor? That bylaw number 1179/24 be given 3 readings at this meeting. All those in favor? That bylaw number 1179/24, being a bylaw to provide for the establishment of base tax, be read a third time and finally adopted. Third chance, any questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor? Okay. We're gonna move on down to the round table. Why don't we start with you, Kate? Thank you very much. Myself, I was pretty busy the last couple of weeks. April 28th, I attended the Chamber Social with the Saskatchewan Chamber in attendance. Oh, yeah, I did. I forgot to change that here. That would be May 28th. And yeah, just had a chance to meet the new director for the Saskatchewan Chamber and talk about development in the area. May 31st, I attended the Nipawin Cadets 190 ceremonies. June 2nd, went golfing for Media Day with lots of the Saskatchewan media. June 3rd, did the Media Day fishing kickoff with everybody and saw them on their way. Sounds like they got quite a few fish. A few pike got tagged, so getting ready for that event. And then on June 3rd, I also attended the Airport Advisory Committee. So that's, as Michelle mentioned earlier, the first time in 5 years that committee's met. So there was a little bit of policy review. We reviewed the lease agreement that we put out. There was some discussion around repairs for the runway and taxiway. There was also some mention down the road long-term planning, some interest in commercial flying from our airport if there was a longer runway created. So, long term. Also on June 3rd was a governance committee meeting where we discussed our tax levies and a lot of the requests that were put in today for speed. And then also a review of the procurement policy. And then on June 5th was the landfill advisory committee. So that was created as part of the Barwell purchasing agreement. At that meeting, there was a bit of a discussion around having that committee structured the same way our fire partners committee was. That'll probably be something. And that's what I've been up to. Yep.
Well, I had the meeting there, the governance meeting, the chair, and it was busy, as you can see from a lot of things out there. Lots of questions in regards to getting that meal rates and everything set. So publicly thank you to our CAO for taking all my questions and getting all the information. Get us there again. That was really quite helpful. I know what we all work. Thanks for doing it.
I attended the governance meeting as well.
And you went to a picture.
Yeah, just tonight. Received $1,500 from the Exhibition Association.
I have nothing town related, but I was busy.
Thank you very much, everybody. Moving down to the public forum. How are you today, Joyce? Yes. We're struggling with that with microphones. We've done some testing. Hopefully in the next few meetings, we'll have some better solutions to get that volume up a little bit. And I think we found too that it sometimes depends on the device you're using. I know when there was some testing going on some of our staff have had good success with sound, others not so much.
It is a work in progress, and we did have some microphones, but obviously they didn't work the way they were anticipated that they would work, so we are still working on it.
What was that sound? Water running?
That's your alarm going.
Okay.
And the finances getting to where they are is because of the amazing work that our CEO and our CFO and the whole team have put in. They're the ones that put in the legwork to really get that done.
Yeah.
So it's we're quite happy, at least I am.
If I can just say, I personally have had quite a few people comment on the demolitions that we've had. So the residents are noticing that things are being cleaned up. That's nice.
We discussed a little bit, we're taking a harder stance on some of these buildings. We have the ability to.
Well, you look at the reports from protection services and they're monitoring those vacant houses on a daily basis. As you can see, bylaws. So. Kudos to the staff.
Thank you very much, Joyce. All right. That the regular council meeting of June 10th, 2024 be closed with Mayor Zacharias in the chair pursuant to section 120(2)(a) of the Municipalities Act and citing exemptions contained in the local authority